Hey, what's up guys? This is Rail Chief here and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mike and welcome back to layout update number 5. Alright, so before we get on with the video, I just wanted to remind you guys that this is actually my first layout update video of 2022. So it's been like maybe a month or so since I last did a layout update. So I figured this week was the appropriate time to show you guys what I've been up to since then. So without further ado, without me talking too much, let's go ahead and jump into the video and I'll show you guys what I've been up to. So while running my layout, I noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of action on the train table. So I wanted to bring out something fun. So the first accessory that I pulled out was the Lionel Rotary Beacon Tower from 1954. And to power the beacon, I actually have it connected to the Lionel CW80 transformer. Now, it's also been a month now since Christmas has passed, so I figured that this would be the unfortunate time to take down the Christmas tree. So slowly but surely, I started removing each Christmas ornament from the top of the tree here. And after that was done, little by little, I started to take each piece off the tree. And once that was all done, I decided to repaint parts of the train layout brown. And once the paint was still wet, I took out my little canister of green grass and started sprinkling it on top of the paint while it was still wet. Another thing that I done here was to add a Lionel uncoupling track section to the front of the table here, because like I mentioned before, my layout didn't have a whole lot going on, so I wanted to include some more action onto the layout, especially when it comes to operating cars. Another favorite accessory that I wanted to include it on my layout here was this little Mark's fueling station from like the early 50s. Now the only problem with this is that I have to keep it a little bit, like maybe an inch or two away from the track, because I don't want the trains bumping into the little shed here. While I was at Walmart the other day, I noticed this little box of LED lights, and they were only under $12, so I figured I'd pick it up and bring it home with me. The LED lights are actually going to go inside my Plasticville power station, which is of course a reproduction made by K-Line. So once I checked to make sure that everything was running perfectly, I removed the roof here of the power station and then slowly started adding my LED lights to the bottom of the roof here. Just one thing to mention about these LEDs is that they're not flexible like Gargrave's track is, so I had to work with what I had. So I wanted to make sure that the lights went around the entire bottom section of the roof here. So once all the LED lighting was installed, I took my excess wire and started threading it through the door hatch on the side of the power station here. Then I took my excess wire here and plugged it into an outlet on the side of the layout. Another thing I want to point out here is that I was only working with one hand because it's hard for me to hold my video camera and also plug in this little plug at the same time. And then once again, I tested everything to make sure that the lights were working just fine. And while the lighting inside the building is working perfectly, there was this one problem. The lights were starting to bleed through the plastic, so I had to find an alternative way to make sure that the lights didn't show through. So I went ahead and took the factory apart, and then taped the back side of the plastic and then painted that side black. Now that looks better if I do say so myself. Now the last thing that I did for today was to take out my Dremel tool because I wanted to work on the river scene on the back side of the layout where the trestle bridge is. While I was working on the river in the back of the layout here, I wasn't wearing any gloves whatsoever, so if you ever try doing this at home, make sure you guys wear gloves, and also to make sure that you wear some protective goggles too, because the foam starts to fly all over the place when you're working with the Dremel tool here. After I started scratching away little pieces of the foam on the table here, I went over with a fine grit sandpaper and then just gently went over and started removing some of my rough marks. Once all that was done, I went ahead and got my miniature vacuum cleaner and then started vacuuming up some of the little bits and pieces that I left behind on the layout. And of course this scene wouldn't look complete if it wasn't painted, so I took out some paint that I got out of my little paint box, and I'm actually using raw sienna for the river. So I hope all you guys have enjoyed today's video. In the next layout update, I'm going to be adding water to the river here, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But as for now, thank you guys again for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell down below for any other projects that I upload. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thanks again and take care.